So this is the front view of the application. Here it is asking a person to log in. As I said, this system has three main actors: student, teacher and admin. There is also a feature to create account. I'll click on create account. This takes to create account page. This create account page is specific to the student. Student can only create account by himself. For teachers and admins, admin should add new accounts. I'll give Akshay Subhash as name. I'll give Akshay 123 as username. I'll give test as password. Now I'll click on register account. So this takes me to login page. So before this, I'll show in database whether the account is created or not. You can see Akshay Subhash with username as Akshay123 and password as test was already created. That means we should be able to log into the application test. Now if I just click on login, you can see student dashboard was clearly rendered. A typical student can take quizzes in 4 different subjects: science, maths, physics and English. If you also see in the menu, you can see his own name was displayed. The person who logs in, automatically a session is created for him and he can also log out. If he just click on that, if he clicks this logout button, he'll be taken to home page. And the same logout button also provided here. Okay. Now let's say take a quiz. I'll just click on science. This was timer running for every quiz. Default time 10 minutes was given, and in the left side this is frame for camera. Since I have blocked the camera in this browser, you are not able to see, but here camera will be automatically starting and it will start streaming our webcam into this box. Okay, so out of 3, if I just click on finish attempt, I secured 1.75. Now if I go to my application and if I log in as teacher, and teacher, I already created one teacher in database. So I'll just give those credentials and I'll click on login. In the teacher's main dashboard, she can actually see the entire stats. So here I'll just filter with start time. The latest record was added here. So Akshay, the name with username is Akshay and he has taken science quiz at this time. So this is the time date and you can see the time. It is 6:35 and obviously it is showing 6:34. This was the start time and this guy has ended in couple of seconds and the score is 2. I don't think it is correct. Yeah, I think I missed the negative logic while updating here. We will check that bug. And these are dynamically rendered from database. Nothing is hard coded. And also teacher have feature to add questions. If she clicks on this add question, she'll get a new form. Here I'll give which of the follow tree comes under living things. So I'll mark it as 3. Now if I just click on add this question, here our new question is added. That means if I go to our students page and if I just again take science quiz, 4th question was automatically loaded. Now I'll give everything correct. So mineral, genes and also mint is the correct answer. And here we have given correct answer as tree, right? I'll click that. I'll finish attempt. So I should get 4 out of 4. So this was dynamically updating here and there. She can see all the existing questions in the system and she can update the question. I'll change the correct option. If I just click on this update, you can see same fields for automatically filled and there was a separate page called update this question. So here instead of none, I'll change it to still, something like that. If I just click on update, here you can't see anything, but if I go to database and if I go to options and you can see for the same question ID, still was added into the database. So these two have many to one relationship. Many options can be tagged to one entity. So I'll show how I have defined in Spring Boot later once I finish the front end part. If I just log in as admin is the default admin I have defined in such a way. See, similarly how a teacher have seen all the students listed, right? Admin can see all the users. So admin deals with users, teacher deals with questions. That's the idea. Admin will have the same privileges but not over questions but for users. Okay, so here we have created Akshay123, right? So I'll quickly update his username because admin have those privileges. I'll give, instead of Akshay, I'll give Subhash123 and same password I'll leave. Now if I just click on update this user, I'll go and log out. Again I'll try to log in as student with Akshay123 test, and now if I click on login, it says invalid username because in database Akshay Subhash with this guy's username was changed to Subhash123. Subhash123 and test login. So you can see he was able to log in. Here you are seeing Akshay because his first name is Akshay. Here we are actually loading his first name. He has changed only username. Okay. Here you can see there is only one administrator. So if I just search for any other admin, okay, I have searched for admin and you can see only one result. Now let's add one more admin. Okay. Here I'll assign role as admin. So he will be able to log into admin portal. I'll click on add this user and you can see now we have two administrator. So what I'll do is I'll delete this administrator. I've created admin with name Chaitanya. I'll click on delete and he was deleted. Now what if I try to delete this single administrator? If I just click on delete, it says at least one admin should be active in the system. So that is how this was handled. Okay. If someone forgets password, he can go and actually give for that username, create a password, confirm the password, reset. He'll be able to log in. I'll tell how to set up this project in 7 steps. The first step is to download the project files. Go to Google and search code like dude. Go to the first website with .com extension and go to store in the home page. Scroll to the last product, Spring Boot quiz application. Click on buy now. You'll be taken to cart page. Here I'll give my name. I will give my email. Okay. Once that is done, click on place order. I'll give my phone number, click on proceed. Here you have a lot of options. You can go with card, UPI, net banking. For now I'll go with PhonePe UPI and I will scan the QR code. Once the payment is done, it will successfully redirect to the product page. Here click on this project files. You'll be able to download a zip file which contains all our project files. Click on save. We have downloaded the zip file. Right click on it, click on open. In Windows, you can actually extract the zip file. So we have unzipped the files and if you go inside this folder, you can see all our project files are available. Now the second step is straightforward. You will have to install Java 11 or above because in this project I have used Java 11. As there are many tutorials out there explaining how to install Java, Spring Tool Suite and MySQL, I am not going to cover each and every step here. I have included a bunch of YouTube links for different operating systems explaining how to install Java, Spring Tool Suite and MySQL. You can follow this. Trust me, these are very straightforward. Once you install Java, Spring Tool Suite, MySQL and MySQL Workbench, these 3 steps are important in order to make our application up and running. We will see the step 5 now, that is importing database file. For that, open MySQL Workbench, which will look like this. Here you can see a default local instance will be there with username as root and password as root. I've changed the password from root to some other password for this connection. This will also you'll find in the same tutorial which I have shared. Now click on local instance, which will take you to SQL editor. Here go to schemas. Currently you can see only system schema was there. Now let's import a database schema for our application. For that, go to server, go to data import and select this radio button and select the path where our SQL file is there. Select our SQL file from the extracted folder, click on open. By now we have told the Workbench from where you need to pick that database file. Now we need to tell Workbench to create a new schema and put all this data in that schema. For that, I'll click on new here and I'll give a name, a simple name as quiz app. Remember this name, we will have to use this in step number 6. Okay, click on OK and in the right bottom, click on start import button. Once that is done, it has successfully imported all our schema structure along with data. Now I'll close this tab. I'll come back here. You will see a little icon to refresh, or else you can also right click in the left window and click on refresh all. You can see a brand new schema was created. If you expand that, tables are also created. Further expand, you'll see all our application tables are automatically imported. If you want to see questions, right click it and click on select rows. You'll see all our questions with quiz ID, subject, option correct, everything is selected. With this, we have completed our step 5. Now step 6 is to configure application properties file. In order to configure this, you will have to set a project in Spring Tool Suite. For that, I'll open Spring Tool Suite, which will look like this. Currently, there are no projects. Now, I'll go to File, Open Projects from File System. Click on Directory and go to our project folder, which we have downloaded earlier. This is our folder. Just select that and click on Open. Once that is done, click on finish. Wait for a couple of minutes. If you see, all the errors are vanished. You may see little errors in the beginning, but don't panic. They will be vanished as the IDE builds the project. Now expand this. You will be able to see all the project files with controllers, models, repositories, and services. In case if you see any dependency errors, right click on this, go to Maven and click on Update Project. If you click on OK, they will be automatically resolved. If you are still unable to resolve, send me an email to this address. In the left side, expand the resources folder. Click on application.properties file. Here you will have to configure these 3 lines. This is data source URL, which means it's a JDBC URL which is used to reach your database. In this URL, you did not change anything except this part. Instead of quiz app, you should give the schema name which you have created 2 minutes back. Let's go to Workbench. So what is our schema name? Capital Q U I Z A P P, right? Go to Spring Tool Suite and replace that with your schema name. Once that is done, you need to give database username. My username is root, and by default your username will be root only. You can give your custom SQL password. That's it. You need not do anything. We are ready to go. Go to com.quizapp, click on the Java file. You will see main class here. Here, right click, run as Spring Boot app. Remind me later if you find anything. And you can see in the logs, started application in 2 seconds in port number 8080. Make sure you copy the Spring generated password, open a new tab, go to localhost 8080. Default username is user and paste the password which you have copied. Click on sign in. You should see a home page. Let's log in as student. The default username for student is student and the default password is student. Same goes with teacher and admin. Teacher and admin username and passwords. Click on login. Let's attempt science quiz. You can see all the questions are already there. It's asking for the camera access. So if I click on allow in this box, you will see my webcam enabled. For now I don't want. Everything is working fine. We have tested this code in 3 different machines including Mac and Windows. If you face any kind of issue, reach out to me in email. Further, if you want any customization in the code, color change, interface change, or on whole you need brand new Spring Boot application, I'm always happy to help. Reach out to me as mentioned. So now let's go to the code and see how this actually works. So the program runs from this main class, and once this is done, the very first and foremost things comes into picture are student controllers. I'll go to first student controller. So controllers are nothing but they'll handle the API requests. For example, if I go here and if I click on create a new account, you can see I'm hitting register new. This is the endpoint, and that endpoint I'm handling in controller. So basically it will create a new student. So you can see this is the format to create a new object, and you can see all the objects here. So how my student should look. If I go to this student object, right, class, Pojo class, you can see every student should have ID and every student should have first name, last name, username and all everything. Okay. As I said, every question should have multiple options. So if I go to question, right, for every question there are list of options, because for every question there are 4 options. I'm storing those in a list of options. Again, option is a separate entity which you are seeing here. You can see the relation. This is the Hibernate annotation saying one to many. That means one question can have multiple options. So if I go to options, every option should have one question, right? Inside option class, there is question field where it says many to one. These annotations are the one which actually made those data tables and define those relationship, how our application should behave. Coming back to the student controller, and every application there will be get and post requests, right? If I go here and I'll inspect and I'll go to network, and if I just click on create new account, yes. So this is the request which I'm sending just to render this page. This is a get request. That's why you're not seeing any field for payload. If it is post request, you will see a field. For example, if I give something here, now if I click on register and if I go to students, there is a field called payload. So you can see first name, last name. Apart from these are just models. Okay, and these are repositories. These repositories are just interfaces which actually extends the JPA repository, and for a JPA repository actually accepts two generic values. One is admin, which is nothing but the type of the class which you are actually establishing the relationship, and the long is the data type, which is unique identifier in long. If I go to admin, if I just go to admin, my unique identifier, Hibernate we do annotate with this value, like this will be unique key, and these are custom methods which we can define. So with this repository itself, we can actually access the CRUD operation. That means you can delete an admin, update an admin. For those things, this admin repository can be used. There is a service layer. Every request, first it will go to controller, and controller will call to service layer. As you know, MVC itself is a good design pattern which has been used in enterprise level applications. So again, this is a separate interface which will have the same methods which you defined in the repository, but there is an IMPL class. This is student service class, and there is student service IMPL class which actually implements the service class. If you want to save student, we are basically calling the same repository, student repository, which we can actually directly call that, but that will not be a good practice or best practice. The best practice is to create a service layer which actually serves the purpose. We can save student. Okay, you can find by username. Okay, all right, this can be done. Similarly, you can find for quiz, admin, service, everything. If I have to show how the logic is handled, the core logic is handled in quiz controller, which actually will have only two main methods. Let me delete this commented code. Alright, quiz will have a subject, and that will be sent to get mapping based on if the user clicks on science, this entire snippet will return a science quiz questions, and we are asking it to set start time. So this is how you are seeing the session start time in the teacher's dashboard. Here I'm just accessing the Java system class, and I'm getting the current timestamp, and I'm setting to that. And again, session is a model. Here you can see, okay, it's a model. There it will set inside that model. You'll have getters and setters, and here are the list of questions, and I'm accessing the question service and getting all the questions. This question service is injected here, and this is a service layer. It was injected using auto-wide annotation. If you are injecting only one service, it's always recommended to use constructor-based dependency injection. Once that is done, we'll initiate a new quiz. Obviously, we need to start new quiz, and I'm passing subject which I got from the URL, and I'm passing the questions which I got from database. Here in this layer, from service layer I got all the database based on the subject. If I just science goes here, this part will return all the science questions, and I'll have those science questions here, and I'm passing those questions. I'm also passing the session. So this session contains who is doing what. So this can be rendered putting into database. So for that session, I'm setting a quiz. So session setting score, because initially the score will be 0, and there is a context controller which actually shares the context between the controllers. And I'm setting the student ID because who is inside the session, and I'm also setting student name. Okay. This context controller records the details when user logs in. So I'm getting the username from there and setting to the current session. And this goes like this. And finally, I'm adding model attribute questions, and I'm adding all the questions. Okay, so here are answer DTOs. This is the empty field to collect the answers. So what this model attribute questions means, this is the part which will be accessed in the front end. So from the back end, I have accessed all the questions. Now I'm posting those to front end with this tag. Questions is the object from which front end can actually access the questions. So let's go to quiz.html. This is the front end part. So we have posted object as questions, and from that questions it can get everything. If I just go little bottom, okay, if I scroll little down, yeah, this is where our questions will actually render, right? This is a simple for loop in TimeLeaf. Okay, it's also a front end engine. So remember, we have passed questions from backend. So this is the object. Here we are actually th.each. So TimeLeaf each means for each question in this question. So this questions is a list of questions. So that will have 10. If from backend, if we get 10 questions, means for each question we'll go inside and we'll display question title. For each question, it will display title. All right. Then again, it will have an internal loop which actually gets the options. So for each question, this is the variable. You can imagine it as I in for loop. For each I, there will be a title, and for each I, there will be a list of options associated with those. Again, for those options, we'll go one more for loop which you are seeing for each in the sub loop. Okay. And these are type of radio buttons. This is basic HTML, and values I'm setting from the backend database which I got. I'm actually setting those objects to those values. Timeleaf.field is nothing but this is the syntax. So answers, this is the index in the sense we are counting the count here. Okay, if for the first round count will be 1, so this part will be 1, so that means questions of 1. So questions of 1 in the sense first question will be rendered. Similarly it goes until it extends. So if I have to show that validation part, if I go to quiz controller, and yes, this is part where it will validate the quiz. The method of the name is validate. So from the path variable we are requesting subject. If it is science, it will get this variable contains science. Okay, and once that is done, I'm getting list of questions. Okay, with the context controller, that means when the students starting the session, all the questions will be set to context controller, and first I'll initiate correct options as 0, opted as 0, everything. Alright, once that is done, I'm just iterating through all the questions which were passed from UI, and I'm also iterating through all the submitted answers, and I'm checking how many he has attempted with option ++, and out of attempted how many are corrected with this correct variable. Once I got the details, I have also utils class where I am calling calculate negative marks. If I pass the opted number of questions and correct answers, it will give me calculated score. And I'm ending the session because I have already calculated the time. I am ending the session, followed by I'm printing the score, and also in the end I'm also adding these attributes. These are the attributes which you see when I click on finish attempt. Here you are seeing red 0, didn't have attempted, so these are also dynamically printed. Okay, this is the brief introduction or something. If you have any specific doubts, you can always reach out to me via email. Thank you. Have a good day.